everybody. Welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network here on YouTube. I'm Naomi the Brickanista, based in Seattle, and I have been so excited that this year, 2023, you've had a chance to meet some amazing builders. As you know, we started with Zach Steinman over in Canada, and he showed us about how to make cubes through his 2-minute tech tip. We also had a chance to talk to Tacos Blandino, who was on Lego Masters Season 3, as well as Emily and Dave from Lego Masters Season 3. And our next guest, I've been wanting to have him on the show for a while because I've learned some really cool things just by watching his channel. And since he's on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast, we don't always get a chance to align, but the stars aligned. And he was able to share a 2-minute tech tip. So if you haven't seen it, we'll play it midway through the show. But I just wanted to say, please help me welcome from the state of Maryland. Please help me welcome Brandon Brickhive. Hey, how's it going? Uh-oh, you're muted.
Oh, of course. Of course. There we go. Hello. How are you doing?
Funny because we tested before the stream started. Can you hear me?
That's always how it goes, right?
That's okay. Well, I'm really glad that you're here because as I was mentioning to everybody who has been watching this little prelude, is that we have been doing these 2-minute tech tips with a variety of different AFOLs in the community. And I'm also going to get some TFOLs also to provide some tips too.
Excellent.
And I was just thinking that sometimes there's like one small tip that will change your whole dynamic of how you build or how the landscape you're working on comes together. And I've been mentioning it on my own stream when I'm building. And I just say, oh, yeah, I learned this from Brickhive. And I said, why haven't I asked Brickhive to actually be on the show? So,
well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and Brickaroo Bonsai is here. Hey, aloha hoy. How are you, Brickaroo Bonsai? Yeah, we haven't met in person yet.
No, not yet.
I'm sure it will happen someday. But I have been on your show.
Yes.
A long time ago.
Long time ago.
And hey, Lena, how's it going? Good to see
Hello.
you. Yeah, and what was interesting about that is we met through a mutual acquaintance, which is your co-host on Good Morning Brick World, Doc Sampson, also known as Con the Producer, also known as GLS.
Garageland Studios. Yes.
Yeah. So and I've met him, I think once or twice, I think. Yeah, that's right. I met him because when the pandemic first started, I started this show called Brickanista on the Move, where I would drive to places that had free Wi-Fi and broadcast from my car.
Right.
And so we were both in the same parking lot. And then I had some stickers to give him. So I said, come by the car. And I literally like put the stickers through the window because that was like early in the pandemic. It's like, oh, we don't want to get too close.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really funny. And then the second time I saw him, he was at Bricks Cascade, where he was looking for Lego Masters in the Wild.
Right. Yeah.
That segment. Yeah.
That one was really good. I enjoyed that one a lot.
So how do you know Con/Doc? And I know you've done your Good Morning Brick World show for what, 3 years now?
Yeah. So I met Doc and /Con just randomly throughout the community. And yeah, it's really interesting how friendships form, because when I first saw Doc, I wasn't hateful, but yeah, I was like, oh wow, there's Doc. But slowly over time, I've just grown, into a really strong friendship, and with Doc and Con, and it's just been really great. And I don't know, I think it's almost a year anniversary. It's coming up here pretty soon from when he joined, like officially joined, Good Morning Brick World. And yeah, I decided I needed a co-host for the show, and I knew I had bigger plans in the future for it, but I wanted to start with just like a really solid co-host. And I don't know, everybody kind of thought Doc would be like probably like a perfect fit. Doc was definitely on
Well,
the top of the list.
isn't he like
and
almost like Murph the dog, or what was it? The dog that has a cigar. I'm trying to remember.
oh,
He's on one of the late night shows.
yeah. The insult dog.
Right.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Hey, Glenn, how's it going?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, Doc is he's, you know, a lot of people say I'm feisty, and I can be, don't get me wrong. If anybody's watched
Oh
me long
yeah,
enough,
I've seen your show. You have your moments.
I have my rants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Doc's a different type of feisty. Doc, my feisty is a little chaotic. Doc's feisty is a little more organized. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a little more specific with stuff. You know what I mean? He can throw some punches that I probably won't. You know what I mean? But you know, the thing is just awesome personality. Constantly making me laugh and stuff like that. So hey, what's up, Shy?
Shy Time is here. Hey, Shy
and Triumph.
Time.
Triumph the insult
and
comic
Triumph.
Dog.
That's
Thank
it.
You,
Triumph
Glenn.
the insult comic dog. You have your own Triumph now in Doc. Is that because he kind of comes off like that sometimes?
Yeah. He's definitely, like I said, we're both feisty and stuff, but it's just in different ways, and that's why like eventually like Titanium J and then Amber Laya came on and became co-hosts, and they're like a really good balance. Both of them are a really good balance to Doc and I. So yeah. It's good times. It's all in good fun, and we all have heart.
It's really great to see how your channel has grown and how you've got all these really great characters. And if I remember right, you also have an exclusive with Doc now that we've had some rebranding with Con the Producer and GLS, and I think Doc Samson only appears on Good Morning Brick World.
Yeah, right? As far as I know, I don't want to hold him to that. But yeah, he seems to like he'll release. It seems like he'll release some stuff sometimes, but it's really something that's for Good Morning Brick World. But he'll put it on his channel. But
I'm pretty sure he made that announcement though. I think he made that announcement that the only time you're going to see Doc is on Good Morning Brick World.
Yeah, he goes through evolutions, but for the most part, I think that he just pretty much focuses on stuff for Good Morning Brick World,
right?
Especially since we're getting bigger and bigger, and like, you know, now we have a website. So once I go through a lot of stuff with him, he'll probably be doing a lot of stuff on the website. He'll probably be doing more on the website than any of us now that I think about it. But yeah, it's it's exclusive creator content.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, he had this niche in the AFOL community. And that's why when he went to Bricks Cascade and Doc was interviewing like Boone Langston and finding Tricky Bricks and other people that were at Bricks Cascade. And I have a sliver of time in that interview too, where he goes, "Oh, look, there's Brickanista. Brickanista's in the wild too." And I'm like, where did that come from? It's like someone's stalking me now at Bricks Cascade.
And despite the feistiness, Doc has a really good heart. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just a really good person.
Absolutely.
You know, like he'll even put me in check sometimes. So it's like, you know.
Hey, Debo.
Hi, Debo. Doc rocks. Yeah, Doc is very underappreciated. Also, I don't think enough in the community really appreciate what Doc does. You know, and what he has done too, because I miss stuff like the virtual news and all that he did all the time.
Yeah. Well, and knowing that Doc he was on one of my build streams where we did the Rebrick This challenge. So since Debo's on right now, Debo and I co-hosted this Rebrick This challenge, and one of them was we had to take the Thanos set, the Thanos mech set, and rebrick it based on what the audience would tell us as part of mock improv.
Oh, okay.
And so it ended up in fact, Glenn is the person who came up with this. He usually comes into my chat and he goes, meow, right? And I said, "Oh, so are you saying a litter box?" He goes, "Yeah." And so that was one of the suggestions. And then when we spun the wheel, it ended up we had to have Thanos having brunch in a litter box, rebricking that. And on top of that, Doc had to do that with his mittens, right?
So, yeah, I don't know how he does that. I've never even asked, but
it's really insane. But that was one of the funniest mock improvs and We Brick This challenges that we've had. So that you're right. Doc is, we love you, Doc, even though you're not here. Maybe you'll show up soon, GLS. But so tell us. I mean, I've met you once on your show,
right,
which was inadvertently because Doc had a family emergency and he couldn't broadcast. So you picked it up and you said, "I'll broadcast from my channel."
right.
And this is where we had to eat really spicy Thai food, or at least I did because I'm a vegan, and everybody else had this noodle dish. So I was curious.
I was trying to remember exactly what it was. I just remember it was hot.
I remember that Doc picked it out and he sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
And I remember that all of us like had prepared our food, right? Because it was like a noodle.
Yeah, I remember like
dish.
cooking
so you
while
had
we
to
were
like make it and boil it and do all that stuff. And so we're going, are we gonna eat this? Or and so that was really great that you just jumped in and you just said, hey, and you put even a flame background as a backdrop as well.
Yeah, I try and be as creative as possible when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Right. So how did you come up with the idea, or was it you and Doc who came up with the idea for that?
No, that was Doc. I don't know. When it comes to video content, I mean, I'm slowly been kind of migrating towards like more topic related type videos. But when it comes to like random stuff like that, I'm usually game for stuff, but I don't ever think of those ideas. Like I remember there was like a disgusting sandwich challenge one that we did a couple years ago.
I'm glad I wasn't on that.
Yeah, ironically, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it's, you know, it was still, yeah. But yeah, that was all Doc. And him and a couple other people also.
Doc has the softest hands.
Yes, they're felt. They're felt. But yeah, him and Ninja, and I can't remember who else was in the challenge. They did like that hot chip challenge or whatever it was.
Ninja. There was another woman who was in there, and I think Doc was supposed to be the fifth person. And it was interesting because it was the first time I did a live food challenge, because that's not my wheelhouse. I will tell you right now, it's not something. I don't eat the jelly beans. I don't have the Harry Potter variety.
Well, doing anything live is can be mind numbing sometimes because you don't know what's gonna happen. And I've been
that people have been talking about. I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of reaction. I was going to, but I was like, I don't know what kind of reaction I'm going to have live. Maybe. I don't know. One day. I don't know. Maybe for the views,
you can always go off camera, right? And I've seen people do that. I think it was, who was it? Bricks O'Brien, I think he took the potato chip and he like wolfed it down, took some milk, and then he goes, I'll be back.
Yeah, there's been a couple odd ones out there just in the Lego community I've seen. But yeah, obviously, like just out there's been some pretty wild stuff. But so
in the time that you've been streaming, it seems like you've been one of the reasons I also wanted to interview you is that you're one of the original Lego streamers. You're, I think, part of the OG, if I'm correct.
I feel like there was a good solid generation, possibly two before me. Because
of course you have Jang, but he's probably the OG, right? But
yeah, I mean, and there's definitely some other guys. I'm obviously not gonna think or remember everybody, but I know like even like Hoosier, he's been streaming a lot longer than I have. Bricks for Chris, I remember.
Oh yeah, Bricks for Chris.
So, but I started before the boom from the
pandemic boom.
Yeah, from the pandemic boom. Yeah,
everybody's at home. What am I gonna do? Let's start streaming.
But it started off slow, and I've slowly been trying to evolve what I want to do and what I want, like what other people would want as well. It's kind of a mutual thing, you know what I mean? So but yeah, I've been streaming quite a while. Like I said, the Secretborn Brick World, that's like been 3 years. I'm pretty sure I was doing some Hive streams before that, maybe. I'm not sure, but but streaming took me about roughly half a year or so after I started the channel to really start doing, because it's, it's kind of first going, like you said, going live, you can't erase anything, you can't edit anything, you know what I mean? So whatever
I
you
edit
say
all
is
the time.
but I mean, it's just, you don't know what might happen or something.
Well, and the reason why I say that, folks, is that there have been times where I've interviewed somebody and they said something that was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And so I go back and I edit it for them so that they don't get in trouble, right? So I don't want people to think, that I'm just, going in there editing everything. But you're right. When you're live, just like, I guess if you're an actor in a live studio audience, then
right.
Something's going to happen.
Well,
and
yeah, and plus,
witness that.
The few times I've given any advice about live streaming, which I'm not like a professional of, but when I have given a few bit, one of the things I've said is like, it's better just to be yourself.
Right.
Obviously you might have to tone yourself down a little bit if you curse a lot, or if you're very vocal about certain things, you know what I mean? Or you're going to put yourself in a corner about stuff. But I mean, it's better to be yourself, because one, people can sniff out and spot, if you're being fake or not yourself. Two, if you have to hold up,
meter is high.
Yeah. Well, plus if you have to keep a persona that's not really you, you just gotta constantly do that, and eventually, you'll slip up. But I don't know, over time, you just get used to it, and you just starts flowing. And then I've gotten to a point now where most of the time I almost feel like it's home when I'm live now, so I can just freely just talk, and it's comfortable.
And you have your own set of followers, right? That your followers, the regulars show up, and then it's almost like you're hanging out with family or family you like.
Yeah, and I've seen other people say this as well. You start to become very familiar. It's one thing to become familiar with somebody that you see a lot, but then like after you're doing this for years,
right,
and you're seeing the same people out there for years, like it's not just like, oh, it's a name out there. Like, you feel like, I don't know what it's going to be like if you get like hundreds of thousands of followers, you know what I mean? Obviously it's hard to keep track of that many people, but I'm not that big.
Ethan the Artisan, right? I mean, Ethan Duggan from episode or season 3. I mean, he just announced he got 100,000 the platinum plaque from YouTube. And Zisu's here. Hey, hi. Zisu, good to see you. Yeah, tone yourself down if you're dog. That's funny. So this goes back to what I was saying. It's like your regular community people show up. People like Shy Time is so great to see you, because he's another person that I'm so Shy. Don't be surprised if I reach out to you, but it's just great to see different people in their different channels, kind of in their own communities, and how they interact with people in the Lego space. And we're starting to see more too. Two Humble Bricks is here too. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, the community's really growing, despite there's a lot of people that we don't see around anymore. But yeah, the community's definitely been growing for quite a while. Even with the
I think too the pandemic was interesting, because you saw this big spike of streamers, and then when the pandemic it's not technically over.
No, not technically.
When people started going back to work, then there was a massive drop, just like when people adopted dogs and cats, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm at work now, I can't really take care of my dog, which that'll be another topic for another day. But I'm just curious, because you've been around for a while and you've seen several different shows come and go. What are the things that you would advise somebody who's getting into streaming about? You already mentioned about being yourself, but what are some other things you think are helpful for people, especially streaming on YouTube?
Well, now, and I'm sure some people know this, some people might not, but like streaming and videos are two different things.
Mhm.
When you make videos, you have a lot of time. You know, you can edit, you can make what you want, blah blah blah, and you can kind of do that in a way with streaming, except for the editing part. But you can kind of still make it your own, what you want, and that's like with Good Morning Brick World. That's what we've done, is try to
Right.
make it more of a show than just a normal stream. But you know, it's going to take a little while to get comfortable doing it. It's going to take,
Oh
even with
yeah.
the video part, like it took a while just to be sitting in front of a camera and not look like a robot, you know. It'd take a while to get
And interacting with the
comfortable.
chat too.
Mhm.
I think that was
Yeah.
the hardest thing for me at the very beginning, was because my background is radio. I don't know if you knew that,
Oh
but
wow,
I
no,
had
I
a
did
radio
not.
show before I started streaming on YouTube, but we didn't have like a chat. You
Yeah.
know, you just, you know, randomly rambling about whatever. I was doing movie reviews at the time, but so when you're talking about, you know, looking at the camera, trying to be comfortable around the camera, but
Right.
also engaging with the chat, and but so when do you think that moment came for you, when you first started and you're like, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable, but
Um,
now, yeah, it's like second nature.
I want to say it took a good solid couple months, you know,
Hmm.
and it was a progression of, first I was by myself for a couple streams, and then I started letting some friends that I knew of, like Greg from London Bridge Bricks, you know, BFab, you know, a few other
Right.
people, they started slowly coming in. Doc was one of the first ones to come into, you
Right.
know. So so then that, and then just the concept of, it's not hard to keep up with the chat, and it's not hard to
Hmm.
build, you know, on stream or whatever, but it's really difficult sometimes to multitask for me. I'm getting better at it.
Absolutely.
Some people are naturals. They can just
Hmm.
build and look at the chat and talk, and build and look at the chat and talk like it's nothing. And like I said, I'm getting better at it, but that's one of the big things that, again, you'll just eventually get comfortable doing and get used to. But yeah, like you said, the chat is a big one. You definitely
Hmm.
want to make sure that, you know, not just out of decency. I know jobs. Everybody had to go back to work, including me. I've got a full-time job. I don't know how I do it sometimes, like working 50 hours a week and then trying to do everything else I do.
Put together content for your
Yeah,
Lego stream.
yeah. But like I said, the chat's really important, not just out of like respect and
Absolutely.
decency, but you know, it's just good to engage. Because I can tell you right
Hmm.
now, if you don't engage with your viewers in the chat, they're not gonna hang around unless you're just like some big superstar or whatever. But you know, and as they
Even the
shouldn't, you know.
superstars, though, they
Yeah,
can.
they can lose some, but they've got such a huge amount of followers
Right.
that they, you know, it'd be like if you went to somebody like huge, not even just Lego, but just somebody huge on YouTube and like typed a comment, like it's pretty probable like they might read it, but like they're not gonna have time to answer it or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. It's difficult. I know I'm a moderator in Ryan, you know, M&R, on his chat,
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
you know,
He has a
he can
ton of
have
followers
like
too.
1,000 or so people in the chat, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's almost impossible just to keep up with trying to moderate the chat, let alone read comments and
Hmm.
answer them. And but he does and manage to engage with,
Start
you know,
talking with
one
people.
every once in a while, like, you know, like so yeah.
Yeah, like Brickaroo Bonsai. I did not know that you were in broadcast television. I've learned a lot about people too, because I've now on IMDb. I forgot to mention this, is
Oh,
that
nice.
Builder Insights. I'm going to be putting all of the entries of Builder Insights into IMDb, so you get an IMDb credit as well for being on this show. So
By the way, Brickaroo Bonsai, can I assume that that's a take on the name Buckaroo Bonsai, from that
he's a
from the
great
movie?
builder too, by the way. If you
Awesome.
haven't
Well, I
seen
noticed
some
the
of
boat.
his
I'm
stuff,
assuming that's a bow tie, right in the, like, it's really small, but I feel like it's a bow tie.
that looks like a bow tie. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, maybe it's my age showing, but Buckaroo Banzai is like a movie I remember watching a long time ago. It's really cool. I think I had Jeff Goldblum in them. But anyways, I'm getting off topic.
Well,
Um,
yeah, Brickaroo. I met Brickaroo Bonsai through Tricky Bricks, as well as Debo, and Glenn I met through Sortlug. So I mean, it's interesting too that your communities, you meet through other channels
mhm.
or other Lego user
Yeah.
groups, and
Instagram has been really great for me to find a lot of builders. Because yes, there's like, I don't know, Lego is in a weird place right now. And it kind of has to do with some of the stuff we talked about backstage, where
let's talk about it now with everybody.
And look, I say this in a humble way, because however you like Lego is however you like Lego, and nobody should ever like take that away from you.
Absolutely.
But yes, I noticed it, but I don't. All right. So there's a faction of Lego YouTubers, people that make videos and content and build sets, and like, this is the new set, and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, just follow this trend of whatever the Lego is just leaving out for us. Then there's another faction of Lego people that are builders. And I mean, like, we all build Lego, but I mean, like, they're builders. Like, I'm not saying they don't buy sets. And I'm not saying they don't maybe even make videos or something like that, but they build, like, they're mock builders. Like, that's what they do. Like, Lego at its core is about imagination, creativity, not just building a Marvel set or something. You know what I mean? So there are people on both sides, you know, that can go to extremes about stuff or maybe create some drama. But for the most part, I think everybody's pretty cool with each other. But you could tell there's different, you know, different feels to those things.
Part of it too is the recognized Lego fan media sites too, because that's their job essentially. Is Lego will send them sets, they have to build the sets, and then they review the sets, and that's in a number of different ways, whether it's Tips and Bricks, who does it on Instagram, or you have the Twitch people like Brick and Nick and Dr. Cat Builds. I mean, they're doing that as part of their job, right? But I do think there's interesting that, and part of the reason why we had this conversation backstage is that when Brick Hive and I were talking, you know, we were talking about, why am I doing these 2-minute tech tips? I started it this year. So part of the reason is that I personally have found it a bit repetitive, that you will tune into a variety of different Lego streamers, and it's kind of like, okay, the Paris, you know, Eiffel Tower came out, and how many streams have you watched of the Eiffel Paris Tower? You know, it's kind of like, we know it's huge. Like, one person will say, you know, it's the size of my torso. Another person will say, I've built it and now it's a Christmas tree in my house. But it all kind of follows the same format, right? There's a dark period where they can't say anything. And then all of a sudden, the day that they say, okay, it's public now, all of them will post an Instagram post, a Twitter post, whatever, put it out there. And then it's the massive build time, or they may have built it before the dark period was over. But it's
pretty
like,
funny.
How many of those can you watch?
Well, generally, I mean, and I always kind of joke around that, you know, I don't have to follow specifically anybody like hardcore about any rumors or leaks or something like that, because if something's shown or leaked or whatever, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it within 5 minutes on Instagram. You know what I mean?
If it's anything to do with Star Wars or leaks, you know, Just Too Good, MNR, they're on top of it. I don't need to get into that, you know, because I wouldn't do as good of a job. So
and that's why I don't do like review videos and stuff like that anymore. I did when I first started the channel, but I'm really fortunate that I have become friends with a lot of like builders. And I've shown respect, you know what I mean, about paying attention, or you know, taking advice about stuff like you know, like the waters, you know what I mean?
That's the thing, is that and this goes back to what we were talking about, why am I doing these 2-minute tech tips? Is that you can get just this one little tip from somebody that you watched, and I've used your technique or Chris's technique for probably 1.5 years, and I'll say it on stream, and I'll say, hey, you know, try this at home. And then they'll say, where did you learn this? Oh, I learned it from, you know, Brandon Brick Hive stream. But to give people credit where credit is due, and you did a nice shout out to Bricks for Chris too. But this whole idea of you don't have to buy a lot of stuff. You don't
Right.
have to be part of this whole wave of new releases to be a part of this community, and to also, you just take the best ideas from a variety of people
Right.
and make something amazing yourself. Oh, look, minifigure collectors
Hey,
here.
minifigure
too.
collector.
What are you talking about? Oh my God. We do have a lot of punsters in the chat. I'll just forewarn you.
Hey,
There's
I
Lena's here,
love those
Evo's
types of
here, minifigure collectors here.
And being a dad, I'm usually pretty big on dad jokes. as
Oh
well.
yeah, you got your dad jokes all lined up. Yeah, so Debo's also said he's a big fan of Buckaroo Banzai as well. I'm waiting for the second movie. But since we're talking about the 2-minute tip, if you haven't seen it, I have it queued up. And we were just talking about this platform, StreamYard. If I show it as an overlay, we can't talk because it mutes our microphones. So I'm going to be sharing it live. Okay. So, and how's everybody? We're doing great, minifigure collector.
Thank you for asking.
We were just talking about the 2-minute tech tip and why did I start this in 2023. And part of it is I wanted it to be short form video. So, and when you say the 2-minute tech tip, then people will say, okay, I can watch for 2 minutes, right? It's going to be short.
Sometimes it's good to get some things in short bursts, know? So and the 2-minute tech tip, great.
And then the tech tips, I've already gotten feedback from people. It's like, I didn't know it was that easy, like making the cubes, for example, and things like that. And when you see somebody like a master like Zach Steinman and all his cube art, and that's somebody who should be on Lego Masters. I'm not sure if he'll make it on Lego Masters, but he should be on there because he's just that talented, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of it has to do with casting and they want certain types like Mother Son or whatever. And, but it doesn't mean
it's still about Lego, you know what I mean? So you want to have some impressive builders on there.
If you don't make it on the show, that doesn't mean you're not a great builder. And it doesn't mean you don't have value. And I think that's the thing that we all have to remember. It's just, I do respect a lot of the Lego Masters, not to begrudge any of them, but just to say for those who haven't made it on the show, you all are very valuable. And I want everybody to know that. And if you have a 2-minute tech tip you want to share with people, let me know.
Ironically,
that's part of what this platform's about.
Lego Masters reached out to me, but even though I interviewed with them, I really didn't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I just feel like I didn't, and I know this sounds silly, but I just feel like I didn't deserve it necessarily. I mean, I'm a novice mock builder. I'm still learning. I've done a lot with the city and all that, but I don't.
You've done a lot. Yeah.
But that's different. That's more fluid stuff. I'm really trying to learn more architecture type stuff. So, and honestly, I'm not saying if they picked me, I 100% wouldn't have done it, but I just would have felt sheepish because there's so many way better builders out there that have awesome personalities that would be just fine for the show. You know what I mean? So, but it was still nice to be thought of, like,
Yeah, I mean, they've reached out to me too, and I've interviewed with them. I've been ghosted twice.
I've only been, well, I don't know if it was technically ghosted, but I haven't heard back. So
I think if you don't hear back from them, that technically counts as ghosting.
Yeah.
But let me recognize Spot the Magic Ninja's here.
So what's up, Spot?
How's it going? And yes, the friends are strong in the hive. That is so true. But I think that what's interesting about the Lego Masters phenomenon is that for me, and even in my own circle of friends, before Lego Masters, it was almost like you didn't want to tell people how much you love this hobby, at least in my circle of friends, because they would always mock me about it. And my parents still don't understand. But when the show came out, all of a sudden it was like all these people who've loved Lego now are like, oh, it's okay for me to tell people that I like Lego. And
I think I was okay with it just because I've always collected comic books and stuff like that. So I've never really had an issue.
There's a certain amount of geekiness.
I will say now I have some friends, but most of my friends are spread out. But when Mrs. Hive, when she has like her friends all come over, like we get big parties sometimes. And sometimes kids come over and they want to like look at all the Lego and all that. But like it's the parents that give me the most reaction. And then they start asking like, man, how much does this cost? I'm like, I don't know, like, but usually they're pretty cool about it. But yeah, the Lego's a little bit different because outside of our world, most people just see it as a children's toy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
understand it the
That's
same
changing,
way.
That's
it
the
is
great
changing.
thing is that Lego's rebranding has actually helped people who may have been on the the periphery, kind of
Mhm.
looking in, thinking I might want to do this. Now they feel like, oh, I have permission to express how much I do love this product.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but
yeah. It's definitely gotten a lot cooler. That's for sure. A lot more
it's
accepted.
so nice, and the show changed the hobby a lot. Absolutely, I totally agree, Spot. The more, the merrier. Oh, and EB Good is here. Hey,
Hey, what's
Eddie,
up,
how's
EB
it
Good?
going?
The majority of people that
The
know me
majority of people that know me know nothing about my Lego hobby before Lego Masters. Exactly, exactly. And that's the thing is that you know, when I went to digital filmmaking school just a couple of years ago, and that's why I know how to edit videos, right? Because I spent a lot of time editing videos when I was in that course. But I had done some stop motion animation as part of that using my Lego collection, and I remember one time I was in the digital suite taking photos. So we had this nice room with a light box and everything. And then this tour came through touring the library and the digital suite area. And they go, oh, this is Naomi and this is her Lego pieces. And I had, I think, I don't know, 12 minifigures out or something. And I said, hi. Feel free to walk around and take a look.
I have to say, some of I brought some sets to show my coworkers in the past.
Oh, good.
I remember, but I think that's why sometimes it does get a little accepted a little easier because, like when I showed them, like the first one I showed them was like the '89 Batmobile, and that thing, it's huge. Plus, it's a really, really, rad set. So. I think, yeah, but like with Lego Masters and just other things that have happened, yeah, definitely getting to be.
Well, people want to see my animation. I actually, I don't know if you know this story, Brandon, but I got my start through animation. And my very first convention, I went to Bricks by the Bay with a 20-second animation. And that was my introduction to the Lego conventions. I hadn't brought a physical mock. That was my mock, was the animation. And it is on my YouTube page. I mean, I might be able to load it. It's like 20 seconds. But it was just I was just playing around to try to figure out how to put sound in and match it with the motion, and had a green screen room at school. And then I submitted it, and they accepted it as one of the animations for the show.
Yeah, I've dipped my toes in stop motion. I've made a handful of stop motion videos, and I still have a whole bunch more planned out. But it is extremely time consuming. I mean, it's not too bad if you just have a basic kind of story and nothing really going on. But like, I never make anything easy on myself, so I've always got like, people flying and chips and special effects and audio. And so, but when you do, and and I've done a couple of tutorial videos actually on stop motion before, but yeah, when you know about masking, and dude, masking takes forever. Because you got to erase the
I didn't even do the masking. This 20-second video. I'm sure people are going, let's watch the video. I'll see if I can
saw your comments, and I'd love to see that animation.
Yeah, okay. Well, why don't I do this? And let me chat with Debo's comments. Before the TV show, when I would talk about Lego and the folks weren't interested. Since Lego Masters aired, I talk about Lego, and now they pretend to be interested. Well, why don't I do this? Let me play your 2-minute video.
Okay.
And while that's happening, let me see if I can find the other one. And so I'm going to put myself into the back room, and you can talk while the animation's going. Okay. So if anybody in the chat has any questions, or not the animation, your 2-minute tech tip. So let me start this now. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
To the Brickanista Broadcast Network. Today's 2-minute tech tip is from Brandon Brickhive.
Hi, my name is Brickhive, and I was going to
Brickhive.
show you the pattern that I use for my ocean, which you can see behind me there. And also, I was going to show you the pattern for the river that I have as well, which just goes into the ocean, so it's pretty much the same thing. I do want to add that I did not just make this up on my own. I actually learned this from Bricks for Chris. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out. Been a big fan of water, and I knew when I made my city, I wanted to make a forest and definitely have a beach or a river or something to that effect. I
Please
lived
excuse
around
the mess,
water
by the
most
way.
of my life.
And
I'm
because
working
of
on a
that, I
waterfall.
knew that I was going to want to put a lot of water around in the city area. As you can see here, I got the ocean with a lot of different stuff going on. I'm working on a waterfall right now. But you can see the cross pattern kind of going across there.
Yeah,
Now, one thing to remember is that no matter
what.
what type of pattern you do, you're eventually going to come across spaces where you're going to have to kind of get creative. So, going along the edge of the beach, you'll see here going across going around the lighthouse, just stuff like that. So it's good to get like 1x1 pieces. I like to use little pieces like you can see the light gray to kind of represent, rocks jutting out of the water. So just be prepared for that and have the pieces you need to get around it. Here is the, I guess, pond river area that goes into the ocean. Like I said, I still have to
I
make
saw
the
your
waterfall.
comment spot.
But you can see I'm not finished up here. I still have a lot more pieces to put in. But you can still see that
I'm just
pattern
like-
in there,
just
even
like,
though there are some areas
Let
where
me
it kind
critique
of,
my video.
I don't know, there's like double pieces in some areas.
Yeah, I
So,
should've sped
like I
this
said,
up a
you just
little
kind of gotta get creative and work around some of those areas. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you at least two little sections
I'm like, I
on
should have
here
dusted right
of
there.
that pattern and where to place them.
See, this is the Mystery Science Theater part of the show, is because
I have to say that doing it like this really helps
Thank you,
make
Spot.
it so it's not so tedious or monotonous. It definitely helps out quite a bit, and I highly recommend it.
I still have to buy.
But yeah,
probably
thank you so much for
300
watching, and I appreciate
500 more
Anissa
of
giving
those
me
pieces.
a chance to show you how I did that.
and also check out Batman in the tube. Wasn't
Yeah.
that amazing? Thank you, Brandon, for sharing that with us. And for
Oh,
those of
you're
you who
welcome.
are used to doing your water in a straight line like this,
Stop
try
doing
doing
that.
a herringbone pattern.
Do it
And
that
see how
way.
your mocks improve. If you want to reach Brandon, go to @brick_hive on Instagram. And for more 2-minute tech tips, go to #2minute tech tip. I'm the Brickanista. We'll see you later.
Such a good thing, these 2-minute tech tips.
Wasn't that, I mean, this is why I'm doing these 2-minute tech tips, is that, it helps you showcase your work, which I didn't realize how much and extensive your city was. Because
Yeah,
I
it's pretty
think I
big.
just saw when you were just doing the little ocean part,
Yeah, it's
I didn't
grown
think you
quite
had the
a lot.
lighthouse at that time. And
No,
so when you
when I
put
did
together
that,
this
it was a while ago.
compilation, I was just like, wow, the city's really grown quite a bit. And it really makes a difference. Just that little herringbone pattern that, the putting it throughout the city. And you already talked about too, like putting little rocks in certain places. And I like to use the cheese wedges, the trans cheese wedges.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes, Spot, definitely awesome builds too.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, you're talking about a cringe moment, right? As far as making yourself watch. And I will tell you, I'm going to share this. I found the 20-second video. It's
Oh.
on YouTube. So I'm not
Nice.
sure. I'm going to have to see if I can share the screen and then play it. I'm not sure if the audio is going to come out well. But let me just preface this by saying it was around the holidays. And I didn't even put a backdrop in made of Lego. Normally you would build a backdrop, a set, right? So when you look at this, there's like these little gingerbread houses in the background.
Mhm.
Those are what you would call those ornaments that are on the back of a clothespin.
Oh,
So like you put on a clothespin line.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so you'll see that some of the houses move, while the animation's going.
Yeah, that's
So
a
I'm
difficult
gonna-
thing too.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can let me see if I can present this Let's see, share screen. Let me see if it's in another window. So I'm going to see if I can get this YouTube tab going. Okay, first I'm going to share this. Okay, so you can see this, right? And the reason why I'm sharing, this is my YouTube channel, and this is my first stop motion animation featured at Bricks by the Bay. It actually says 51 seconds, but that's including all the credits and everything too. And this is what I mean, these little clothespin things in the background.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how really, really lame this is. So if you want cringe, I'm giving you cringe. So let's see if this will play from here. Let's see. Can you see this?
Oh, yeah.
And we can talk over this too. So
Snake bite.
you want to talk about cringe, yeah.
Yeah, it's really getting difficult sometimes for me. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh.
So you notice that the backdrop moves?
Yeah, but that's not so bad. So it's getting really difficult for me just because I'm a diabetic, so my hands are getting kind of bad.
Oh.
Yeah, so obviously that's tough and established. And plus I have big hands. So it's like, you know, when I'm trying to move around trees and stuff like that,
Right.
it gets difficult. But no, that was great. That was great.
Well, what's hilarious about it is I think my favorite part is the snake moving off the screen, right?
That's so
Yeah.
funny too about Lego animals. Doc and I always get into arguments about Lego animals, as far as like he likes brick built animals and I like the molded animals. So,
Right.
so I
That-
was gonna, what's that?
That was my introduction to conventions.
Oh,
Because I
really?
had never been to a Lego convention before, and I was in school taking this, digital filmmaking course, and then somebody said, "Oh, did you know that there's like an animation festival taking place at this Lego convention?" And then I looked at the criteria and I said, "Yeah, I could probably submit this." And they go, I was like one of 13 films that was shown, and only 2 were made by women. Because that's
Oh,
another
wow.
thing, is that this field, it's grown now since it's become,
Yeah.
plus 18 marketed. But at the time, that was in 2017 or 2018, right before they changed the branding. And they had no place for the animators to sit. So if you were an animator, normally you'd have Castle, you'd have Pirate, you'd have all these places where you could sit at the convention. It's like, where do you put the animators? And that's
So
when
what, do you have to just have a screen that you carried around, or?
No, it was actually in a big auditorium. What happened
Oh,
is that
wow.
they had a film festival. Yeah.
Neat.
So there were, I think, 300 builders, and it was at the Santa Clara Convention Center. So they have this huge auditorium with the stadium style seating. It's considered unconventional for an AFOL
Unconventional.
not to go to a convention. Well, I think this might be another episode that I might want to do is what's your 2-minute tech tip for going to a convention? What kinds of things that you should prepare yourself for, and then maybe have a collection of those just for going to a convention. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I went to a convention. I wasn't even the Brickanista back then. That's when I became the Brickanista, because they said you need a brick name. I was like, really?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Name?
It's pretty wild because
Yeah.
I was going to the conventions, as soon as I came out of my dark ages.
Mhm.
But I would always just go on like a Saturday and hang out for like a few hours and then just go
Right.
home, And then once I started the YouTube thing and all that, then I experienced like the whole time before the convention even starts. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to actually going to Brick World Chicago this year.
Well,
So
that was my next set of questions, is that,
Oh.
where could people find you if they wanted to chat with you or look at your work? And so you're going to be at Brick World, you said?
yeah, so I'll be at Brick World Chicago this year. I'm building a Star Wars mock to display.
Mhm.
And yeah, also Amberlaya and Titanium J will be there as well. So we'll have like
Oh,
Unfortunately,
cool.
Doc's not gonna be able to make it. I'm trying to see if I can get him out here for Brick Fair in Virginia.
I want to go to Brick Fair, Virginia, because it sounds like
Yeah, it's
that's
a good
like
time.
the biggest East Coast convention. That I mean, I'm being on the West Coast. I'm spoiled, right? Because we have BrickCon, Bricks Cascade, we have BrickCan coming up. I mean, we've got a lot on the West Coast.
Yeah, I've always gone to Brick Fair. I've gone to a couple of Brick Fests. But
Devo's
awesome,
gonna
Devo.
be there.
Excellent.
What?
So
Devo.
but this would be my first Brick World, Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And so like I was saying, Amberlya and Titanium J will be there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try and figure out how to do like a live Good Morning Brick World at Chicago.
Mhm.
Also we'll have like stickers and to give away and
Of course.
shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be sitting at my booth for the display table, for the mock. I think next year I'll
Mhm.
probably do a booth to sell stuff like like my art and shirts and all that jazz. But
So did you make your shirt, or is that one of yours, or
this is half of a shirt that
peanut butter?
Yeah, my wife, she's got one that says jelly.
Oh.
So when we had gotten married, we wore this like I don't know, like a party or something like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, she's got jelly, I got peanut butter. But
And both
hey.
happy. That's awesome. And yes, Shy Time Chicago is going to be lit. And
yeah, so Chicago.
I almost wanted to go to Chicago, but I decided to go to Brick Rodeo because
That's good. I hear a lot about Brick Rodeo.
Brick Rodeo is supposed to be awesome, but I'm not big with large crowds because 250 to 300 I can manage. But my understanding, Brick World is like several thousand builders. Am I right?
I don't know how many are at Brick World. Like I said, I haven't been there, but it's pretty big, and obviously it's pretty
what
big
I heard.
as far as the hype goes and stuff as well. Usually, it seems like Brick. I mean, and we'll see over the next couple of years, but it seems like Brick World is probably like the magnet where everybody will go to. Like most people go to Brick Fair, and a lot of people, at least on the West Coast, got theirs too. But like, it seems like Chicago is going to start being like the
hub, right?
The hub, yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it for a lot of different reasons. I'm looking forward to seeing Chicago. I'm looking forward to seeing tons of people that I've made friendships with and seeing them in person. Got a lot of hugs I'm going to give out. I plan on sitting at there. There's a bar. Yeah, I know, right? There's a like a bar like inside the hotel where the convention center's at. So I feel like Shy and I probably go have a drink, you know what I mean? And I don't have to worry about driving anywhere. I just stumble up to my room,
Oh, Brickaroo Bonsai might be there too.
Hey, yeah, dude.
In Chicago.
And I keep telling everybody, I am a very happy, open person. So like, don't feel hesitant or shy to come up and say hello to me. I'm always about meeting new people, and for me, it's about like, oh, I got to meet another one of you guys in person. I love it. So. But yeah,
that's the best part is meeting the AFOLs. I think for me, it's, I guess, I don't know. I never really thought of myself as having social anxiety, but I think with really, really large crowds, and when I hear things like what happened in Korea with the crush, where all those people, that's like my biggest nightmare, right? Being crushed in a big swarm of people. And I think I've got to work through that. Maybe
well,
not.
I've got I don't know if it's a phobia or what it is, but like even when I go somewhere that I love, whether it's a concert, a convention, or something, I can't sit in a crowded place for a really long time. Like usually 2 to 3 hours is my max, and then I got to get out for a while. You know what I mean? And then I can come back. But,
right?
Yeah, but I'm an introvert at heart. I'm not an extrovert. You know what I mean? I have tons of friends, man. They have to go out. They have to go out and be part of the nightlife and be part of just like doing stuff. And I do too. I like doing it sometimes, but for the most part, I like being right here.
Right. Well, I like being around people and like hanging out with people, like maybe 20, right? But when you have like 300, 2,000, that's why 300 I can manage, because that's the size of essentially BrickCon, Brick Cascades.
Yeah.
I think was about 300 to 500. But when somebody told me there's 2,000 people at Brick World Chicago, I was like,
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm not ready yet. I'll get there someday. But Debo, you're going to be there. Oh man, maybe I could show up for one day, because it's not just the AFOLs though. It's at the public days. Since Brickaroo Bonsai, if you go there, if you want to show your mocks, you have to register as a builder.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to just show up for the public days. You'd have to register as a builder. So you absolutely should go. If you have lodging covered by your brother, absolutely go.
I think it's kind of like Brick Fair too, where you can like sign up and like all that jazz, and you can get the behind, like the backstage kind of pass stuff without building. The only thing, one of the main reasons, and it sounds kind of bad, I kind of wanted to do a mock for like 50 reasons, 50% because like I just, I want to display a mock, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm pretty excited about the Star Wars one I'm building. But two, I want a table to sit at.
Yes.
Like, I want my own spot to sit at. I can put my bags or put whatever underneath the table.
Share the table with Debo.
Share the table with me. I don't know if it's like Brick Fair where they sign you or if you get to pick. I think they sign you. I'm assuming they'd probably put me in Star Wars just because I'm going to do a Star Wars.
Yeah,
mock.
if you're bringing a Star Wars mock, you'll be sitting in Star Wars. But like I've brought mocks for multiple different areas. Like I'll have a pirate theme mock, a Jurassic Park mock. I have a ramen house that goes in the city. I mean,
well, I took out my ocean for Brick Fair not last year, but the year before that, and they were having a hard time trying to figure out where to put me exactly because it was I don't know if they were hard trying to pinpoint exactly what to call mine and plus it was huge too. So, but yeah, eventually they just put me next to. I had a castle on one side of me because I guess that's where the castle started, and then I had another person with another beach theme that was way better than mine on the other side of me. But yeah, it's good times though. It's interesting when you're sitting there with your mock,
right?
And like people, the lines and people, and
that's the part that I like, the fact you can talk to people. And like my ramen house, I ended up sitting next to my ramen house quite a bit. Yeah, I'm sorry, Spot. You're going to miss out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Spot. That sucks.
Yeah.
See if you. I don't know where you're at in the States, Spot, but I mean, can you go to Brick Fair? I mean, I'll definitely be
in
at
Buffalo. Yeah.
Well, and as a matter of fact, I mean, obviously within reason, I kind of have to plan who you are and stuff depending on things. But I'm having a cookout too. It'd be like my second annual cookout. I have them on the last.
Fair? Is this, you're publicly announcing this? Are you sure you want to?
No, it's all right.
I want me to edit this after.
No, nobody knows. I mean, not everybody knows where I live, so obviously they would need an invitation. But yeah, I
have all these AFOLs showing up to your house.
I had a pretty good amount
over here.
I had a pretty good amount last year show up. It was pretty wild. Yeah, a good couple handfuls of people showed up. It's fun, we got to eat, and then everybody came down. We hung out in the Lego room, and then Lego Danny Bob had a couple of friends that they went out in the backyard and played some sport. I can't remember what it was called.
Fun.
But yeah, it's a good time.
Some people can't go because they're in Florida, so you'd have to fly. You can ship your mock ahead of time. So what you do?
It depends on what your mock is.
I'm challenging you, Brickaroo Bonsai, on this.
I've seen some mocks. I'm like, those things will be heavy.
Well, it depends. I mean, take a look at what happened at Bricks Cascade, right? Do you remember that Iceberg Bricks, Agents of Mock, and
Iceberg stuff? Something happened with Iceberg
stuff got demolished, but the thing is, they would never have had that collab if it wasn't for the three of them agreeing to be there and to ship their mocks ahead of time. You can do it. I believe in you, Brickaroo Bonsai. You can do it.
I'm pretty fortunate because I can drive. Brick Fair is only Brick Fair is only like an hour and a half away from me. That's why I have that cookout, because a lot of people are heading in the general direction, like north. Right. So it's kind of easy for them just to take another hour or
That's
two out of their
true.
way. You know what I mean?
Just
But
to hang out with you. And then if Debo's saying he's bringing a Mosaic, some Marvel Mocks, and whatever else I can fit in the Ford Focus. And don't forget, Debo, you've got to put, was it Galactus? He said he was going to like make a car seat for Galactus so that
Oh,
he could be
wow.
in the carpool lane.
that would be something else.
Yeah.
And yeah, Brick World. I think it's like maybe a 14-hour drive. I'm not sure. I've already got the time
Wow.
off. I'm just gonna leave early in the morning. The night
Yeah, because
before
you're
it
in
starts.
Maryland, and yeah, so you are going to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. So that way I can transport the mock easy too.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I have
Uh,
shipped mocks before, and some of them have gotten there without any problem, and others have not. So it is kind of
I
rolling
think some
the
stuff
dice.
wouldn't be too difficult. I'm sure like mosaics aren't too bad shipping. You know what I mean? I think it's just anything that you got, because it was real interesting to see different people travel and pack up their mocks and stuff like that. It's something I do very much enjoy to see
Yeah,
how people do it.
Moto's a master of that.
Yeah,
Apparently. I mean,
yeah.
as far as packing and shipping, I should have him do a 2-minute tech tip about
Dude, yeah, you want to
packing
have a
for your
2-minute tech
mock.
talk. Moto is the man to have, because dude, Moto, I've never seen anybody like Moto. I was so happy to see he got on Lego Masters, because
Yeah, he's definitely.
it's not just that he's a really awesome mock builder, like he
Right.
can just build stuff, but he uses the most interesting pieces and techniques that I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life.
that cat mask that he's built. Sir Meows a lot. Have you seen
I
that
know-
where he wears
yes.
that at conventions?
I remember when he was building it. He built a lot of that on the Hive streams and stuff. Maybe
Oh, did he?
Brick World. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, if I mean, this is not like a promotional thing, but if you were to go back and watch like different
Go
Hive
back in
streams
the
and Good Morning
archives.
Workers, because I remember when he was building his huge shuttle on one of the streams.
Yes.
And I mean,
Yeah.
like he built
With
it
the
on the whole
trans
stream.
pieces
I
that
meant like he
has?
built it over a long period of time, and just some of the builds happened to be on my streams.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
I remember the kitty cat. There was
Yep.
the wolf. The wolf was one of my favorite ones.
Moto is
Moto's
highly motivated.
motivated.
Yes, he is.
And he's such a good dude.
He's
Such
a
good
nice guy.
Yeah, he's one of
He's
the
definitely a
better
nice
people
guy.
in the community for sure.
Yeah, and I think too that when you see him for the first time, he's a very very intellectual person too,
Mhm.
because
Yes.
he's an engineer, right,
Mhm.
at heart. But I think you can see his passion for Lego comes out, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
his looser side starts to come out a little bit too.
Yeah, and Moto is definitely he's a very interesting person to talk to.
Right.
And you could tell how much he loves Lego. He gets very
Mhm.
passionate about like the builds and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
He's been
excited,
on my show a couple times.
But yeah, he's definitely a good one to have on like a 2-minute tech talk thing.
I'll have to ask him. Yeah, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show too.
Oh,
and
for sure. I appreciate you
for
having
being
me.
here, doing the 2-minute tech tip, and like I said, it's a brand new program, just started. You're like the fourth AFOL to contribute, so I really appreciate
Wow.
you
Yeah,
taking the
no,
time to
I
do
feel
that.
honored that you picked me to come on.
It goes back to, so going back for those who came in late,
Great.
that the reason why we're doing the 2-minute tech tip is primarily to showcase people who have been doing things and sharing their techniques with other people in the AFOL community, and to just kind of tell people you don't have to do much to learn this technique, and then it makes your build better.
Definitely.
Right. And
Definitely.
I shared one of the 1x2 with the 1x1 studs where you can make flexible walls. And
Yes.
I mean, that's technique's been around for a long time, but when people see it and somebody said, I've seen this technique, but you've actually explained it to the point where I'll remember it.
Well, and plus some
you know?
things need to be revitalized, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for instance, like how I gave Bricks for Chris credit, for the
Yeah.
tile, the water, but I don't know for sure if Chris made that up. Chris might have
Yeah,
got it
he
from
might
somewhere,
have.
and just gets
And
passed
that's
down.
the thing. It's just like, storytelling, right? That
Right.
somebody told you this story and you tell somebody else this story, and then that can perpetuate and make everybody's mocks better.
But
And
don't
that's
don't
my
let go.
goal.
Don't let go of that 2-minute tech talk. You keep it going because it's a really
Okay.
good idea. Like I said, especially like you get a short burst of a really good or useful technique, and even if it's
Right.
not useful, you just need to know. You never know. Lego's like one of those things you never know if you're going to need that technique
Mhm.
somewhere.
Well, I mean, and there's a couple people like Debo knows. I've already reached out to him. His favorite piece is the top clip. You know,
Oh,
the
wow,
one by
yeah.
one with the top clip on.
Yeah.
And I said, I know you have a 2-minute tech tip with that. So
I feel like a lot of builders, especially serious builders, like have like pieces
Right.
that they really love. I know there's a couple handfuls that I'm
Mhm.
fond of, just out of
Well,
just because they're nice, they're cool, or whatever.
and they're shiny or
They're useful. They do
I just
useful
keep this
things.
2x4 chrome brick around just because it's shiny.
Oh wow, yeah.
But speaking of 2-minute tech tips, the next week's 2-minute tech tip is going to be by Yano River Blue, also known as Femme from the Block, and she's going to show us how to interchange arms, legs, etc. on minifigs, because I think a lot of people get intimidated by that, and they might want like red arms on a torso that has a different set of arms. So she's going to talk through that for folks so that they can start customizing their minifigs. But
Awesome.
yes, and a rising tide lifts all boats. Exactly, Spot. Well, it's been a delight to have you on the show, and thanks
Thank
again
you.
for doing the 2-minute tech tip, because that takes time too. Yes, we love Yano as well, and so for those of you who do not know Brandon, I hope that this little chat, you had a chance to get to know him. And you can follow him at brick_hive on Instagram. He also has his YouTube channel, which is just Brick Hive. I mistyped that, didn't I? Here, let me
It's all
fix
right. I
that.
am live a lot.
You are live too. It's Brick Hive. Excuse me.
I do want to say though, it's been really great also interacting with your followers. Great people. I've very much enjoyed all of your guys' jokes and stuff like that. You're a very fun bunch. I very much enjoyed it.
We have a lot of people who are big into puns, as you can tell, and
talked about Buckaroo Banzai. I'm like,
oh,
geez, man, like this has been a great show.
Speaking of dope, yo, so I think we were talking earlier about the big sets. I every Thursday I do small sets. So I did the dot set that was the message board, and I asked the chat, what should I put as the message? And they all said, it's dope, yo, because I say that a lot. It's dope, yo. So I redid it because the very first one I did on stream, you couldn't see the lettering. So here's the big reveal. Let me give my.
I feel like that phrase needs. I'm trying to bring rad back. That's the phrase I'm trying to bring back. It's dope, yo. And like Glenn says, dope fro yo, the next edible.
Dope fro yo, the next edible. Yeah. So anyway, so thank you, chat, again and this one, it pops more. And then the other thing I did is I filled in the middle of the big letters. So this will be right behind.
Nice.
Right here.
Nice.
So you'll see that in the future. And oh my gosh, my camera goes blurry sometimes.
Yeah,
great show as always. Good night, y'all. Thank you, E.B. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, Brickaroo Banzai, Glenn Copeland, Spot, Debo, Shy Time, everybody who's been in the chat. Really appreciate all of you just contributing and being a part of this community. And of course, Brandon, oh my gosh, so great to have you on the show. And
like I said, it's been great being here. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Don't
by the
forget
way,
to like and subscribe to the stream.
By the way, Brickaroo, yes, I remember that one too. That was a favorite. Rad the Poobie. I think I got my first BMX bike watching that. Anyways, sorry.
Oh, no problem. So once again, you're listening to the Brickanista Broadcast Network here on YouTube. And if you want to send any fan mail, you can send it to Brickanista Broadcast Network, P.O. Box 31956, Seattle, Washington, 98103. And thank you, everybody in the chat. Zizu, everybody. Brothers from Another Brick showed up.
He always calls me Silver Fox.
Who's the good-looking man with the toe T-shirts.
I know he always makes me feel good. He calls me Silver Fox. I'm like, all right, well,
Oh
at
my
least I
gosh.
got the fox in the name. Yeah, there you go. Anyways,
Well, and I say it's dope,
it's
yo,
dope,
that
yo.
shirt.
See, you're gonna have me saying that all the time now.
Well, yeah, and for some reason, see, when I do that, my camera like it doesn't like to focus.
There you
Oh,
go.
there it is. Okay,
There it
good. I
is.
can end where I'm focused. It's like Excelsior, true believers.
Oh my
May the
gosh,
Clutch
Devo,
be
you
with
like
you.
you like Clutch or oh wait, you're talking about
No,
Clutch
that's
like
my
the bricks.
closing line. So
Oh,
I told you I was in radio, right? So you always have an opening and you always have a closing. So my opening is welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. So
oh.
everything I do, you always hear me say, welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. And so Debo gave me this, and my closing is always thank you, everybody, and
I
may
like
the clutch be with you. And
it.
everybody take care. Good night, and
Good
may the
night.
clutch be with you. Bye.
Bye. That is great.